Hi, everybody. We'll just give it a couple more moments for people's sound to, or their audio to connect, and then we'll get started today. Okay, looks like we're good to go. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Almost a long weekend if you get a holiday weekend, which will be fun, hopefully, for everybody. Today we are doing It's Worth a Shot. We're talking about August is National Wellness Month. I know this is basically the end of the month, but we happen to have a lot of presenters that were on the schedule, and this is just where it fell and it fit. Next slide, please. All right, this presentation may contain information and or content supplied by third parties, which actually doesn't. The presentation was brought to you by Alani, who is employed by Mountain Pacific. But just want to let you know that it does not mean that we endorse or recommend topics that are from outside presenters. Next slide, please. Okay, we did forget one update that I'm going to pop into the chat right now for you. This is the link for registration. It is our September 3rd minimal data set, or MDS, updates for the 2025 fiscal year. It is on September 3rd, and it will be 2 to 3 Mountain Time, 12 to 1 Alaska time, and 10 to 11 Hawaii time. So we'll make sure that that's corrected on the slide before we send these out and publish them to our website. We also have the Wellness and Safety First, Expert Insights to Patient on Patient and Workforce Care, which is on September 4th. And then the Center for Disease Control Prevention Partner Call for Antibiotic Awareness Week and World Antimicrobial Resistance Awareness, which is September 10th. And then we just want to point out that August 30th every year is the National Grief Awareness Day, or National Bereavement Day. So reach out to those that you think might be experiencing something that, you know, we all don't understand on the 30th, and wish them well and let them know that you're thinking of them. Next slide, please. So this is a little bit of a timely update. This just came out. So the FDA did approve the mRNA COVID-19 vaccines. So we do have the Pfizer and the Moderna. You can see there they've got the age listed. And then they did want to let you know that the mRNA COVID are no longer authorized. So just some updates there that will go out. Next slide, please. Oh, sorry, and they should be expected within states for the next couple of weeks. I think some pharmacies are starting to get them now, and then facilities will get them followed up soon. Next slide. So as always, we appreciate you guys joining us on Wednesdays. If you have any ideas for topics, go ahead and pop them into the chat for us. Mary will also put in a evaluation, which again, we do read each single one and take everything into account. So if you can take the time to fill that out, we really appreciate it. And then we do have a couple polling questions today. So we'll go ahead and launch the first one. All right. With respiratory illness season quickly approaching, how confident are you on your current facility's influenza/COVID protocols in preventing the spread of infections? We've got very confident, somewhat non-confident, and not confident at all. Give a couple more moments to fill that out.
I only have one polling question, Miranda.
No problem.
Thanks.
So we just have one today. All right, we can go ahead and close it out. Looks like the majority was somewhat confident. So if you do have questions, go ahead and talk to your director of nursing or your facility building, just to make sure that you guys are all on the same page. All right, next slide. I'm now going to hand it over to Jolene. You guys have probably heard a few times on the presentations, and she will introduce Aulani for us.
Thank you, Miranda. I would love to honor and recognize Aulani. She joined Mountain Pacific in 2023 with over 20 years of experience in healthcare-related positions, such as sales and marketing for pharmaceutical and imaging companies, coordinating marketing and other outreach initiatives for healthcare practices, and as an independent sales agent for Medicaid and Medicare plans. As an account manager, Aulani creates and maintains relationships with healthcare providers, partners, and community service organizations to achieve better healthcare. In her free time, she loves teaching yoga. So Aulani, I'll turn the mic to you.
Well, thank you, Jolene. Oh my gosh, that's such a nice introduction. Yes, my name is Aulani Silva. I've been in healthcare for quite a long time, so maybe some of the names on this webinar may be familiar, but I'm based in Honolulu, Hawaii, and yes, an account manager with Mountain Pacific. So today, well, even though it's the end of August, I'm not sure if everyone knew this, but August is National Wellness Month. And if you haven't heard of it, there's a lot of things that come up. You know, we have these new holidays or days, it's a special day, but National Wellness Month started in 2018. It was started by a wellness spa, just to kind of get, I'm sure it's been something more top of mind, top of media, where wellness and other topics such as this have been covered, but it was a 2018 designation that August is National Wellness Month. So with that, even though it's coming to an end, we are going to focus on that wellness and how it applies in our setting, in the long-term care settings, because it's more than just diet and exercise, as we'll come to talk about, but it's something that goes well beyond just health and maintenance. So if we can have the next slide, please. When we're talking about who does this apply to, in the residential settings, you know, we have more than 1.4 million residents in over 15,000. These are certified nursing homes. So when we're talking about long-term care, our umbrella reaches far beyond this, right? We're talking about assisted living, home health, all these other agencies. But right now, in looking at this population of 1.4 million Medicare and Medicaid certified residents, when you expand it to the full umbrella, you're going beyond 30,000 facilities and almost 4 million residents. So with that, I mean, it's a very daunting issue. We know the problem we are all facing is understaffing. And with the new Medicare rules that came out in April of this year, 2024, we've all been hearing about this, right? The minimum staffing standards for nursing homes. This establishes for the first time a national minimum staff requirement, so that the idea, of course, is to improve care, support workers, etc. But we also know the reality of that, right? We know that that's a big ask. It is something that is already a challenge everywhere, and with these guidelines probably presenting even a bigger challenge. So the effect of this legislation takes effect in May 2026, in the rural areas 2027. So while there is some time, it's all on our horizon, it's all in our lens, that aside from what we're presently facing, that's something that's out there looming, right? So that in and of itself could be something to affect one's wellness, given the stress of severe staffing shortages, not having enough staff for current patients, not being able to fill all the beds in some of these facilities based on staffing issues. You know, it's less than 1 in 5 currently are meeting this measure. So we have a lot on our plates in looking at how are we going to tackle this? How are we going to keep our doors open? How are we going to keep our staff and residents really thriving, really managing, right? Okay, so next slide, please. So what exactly are we talking about here? A home, right? The nursing homes, a home is where the heart is, right? Home represents family. We're talking about the staff and residents, because, you know, our staff are often putting in very long hours. So they're there for quite some time. And in these facilities, no matter what the designation of them are, it is truly a home. It's a place where people come to work, where people live. They're there because maybe their family can't take care of them. Maybe there is no family there. We need to have coexistence between our staff and our residents. We need to make that a happy, healthy place for them to be, and make it a positive experience, right? Because aside from the challenges of not having enough bodies maybe in the building as far as staffing requirements, we also have to make it a positive experience for those who are there, the residents, the staff, everyone who's coming through those doors to visit. We want to make it as the most welcoming, home-like environment that we can. Next slide, please. So wellness programs. So let me back up a little bit and talk about wellness overall, okay? Because we're talking about something that's all encompassing, right? We're not looking at just a healthy diet, physical exercise. It comes all together when we use the term of wellness. Studies show that ongoing stress, poor diet, social isolation, not only are those negatively contributing to someone's health, but it worsens chronic disease. It worsens mental health. So when we use a term such as wellness, we're looking at making decisions that take us towards a healthier, fulfilling, positive life. So it's no longer just about treating disease, but it's preventing illness. It's also improving the current status of one's life, because rather than just keeping a patient at bay or keeping even our staff coming to work, we want to make sure that the experience itself is positive and actually helping them in a sense for all domains of wellness. So this wellness movement that came about, this designation in 2018 to say, let's have a wellness month, it's about prioritizing self-care, establishing healthy routines, making sure that all components contribute to some overall wellness factor in all people. So when in the long-term care setting, we want the population to be healthier. We want the whole community to have satisfaction, which includes staff, administration, residents, and have greater community involvement by involving the greater community outside the doors, the family members who come in, the community that the home resides in. So looking at what do these benefits have as far as putting them in place in your facility. Next slide, please. So a happy and healthy staff. We all know that if we're supposed to be taking care of people, just like that airplane analogy, right? When the masks come down, you have to put yours on first. Our nurses are our front line. And so we need to have our staff at all levels being taken care of themselves so that they can be there and be a resource, be productive. We all know, like I said earlier, the shortages we're facing with staffing. So the staff that are actually there, we've got to take care of them. We've got to make sure that they have the resources they need. So why is employee well-being important in healthcare? I mean, there's so many reasons, but when they put it all together, nursing is one of the most demanding jobs out there. It's not just a place to show up and be on shift. You're dealing with humans, their lives, their challenges. A wellness program for that staff is critical because they are the ones who are taking care of these patients. They deal not only with the patients, they deal with the administration, they deal with the family members. So at all levels, they are being asked to have multiple hats on, multiple presentations of themselves on how they are showing up to talk to a family member, to talk to a physician, to interface with anyone as far as the other staff members. They have long shifts. They have to perform multiple tasks, often under pressure. It's mentally draining. It's mentally hard to put all the pieces of the puzzle together and take care of a patient who's in distress or maybe presenting with something new that isn't in their chart. So they have to draw on inner reserves of resilience, creativity. All of this contributes to getting burnt out often. And aside from that, they have a life outside of when they walk out the doors, right? They have their family. They have all the other life issues that they have to face. So there's a lot of emotional investment in their job, but also when they walk out, they have to be able to return to what they have to take care of. So there's a lot of emotional stamina that they need to show up with. And let's face it, a lot of them oftentimes aren't taking all their breaks because it just doesn't happen sometimes. They just have demands or needs from the patient. So it is so truly, truly important to recognize the big, immense job that they do and also make sure that their needs, number one, are taken care of. Next slide, please. So what are the benefits of having healthy, happy employees? We all know that if someone is enjoying where they work, what they do, and feeling supported by who they work for, you're going to have lower turnover. You're going to have a better company culture. There's going to be engagement with the employees because they feel valued, they feel seen, they feel heard. The productivity will be higher. You find that even allowing them to have creativity in some of the programs that are in your facilities, but having all of these components, you know that the outcome is going to be positive. But statistics show that wellness programs in place at facilities increase employee attendance, reduce their absences, reduce sick days by about 56%. So patients who are doing well where they work are going to show up and be more productive. Some examples of doing things that will benefit them, maybe even having on-site nutrition, fitness programs, family support programs. Some of the benefits that they have by being employed on site show that they're recognized. You know, they have needs, they have children, they have caregiving duties outside of the facility. So family support programs are really valued for staff to feel that their personal life is recognized by their employers. Having peer support programs. So maybe, you know, when they have such things as the bridge programs that are in place to mentor maybe some of the staff into higher positions, or even support programs that more experienced nurses can help some of the newer ones. You know, having that support from someone who actually does the job is a really critical piece that some facilities are finding real success with. Having on-site Zen areas, that's a newer thing that I was looking into when I was finding out about what different facilities are doing. Zen areas, because it's such a demanding, noisy, fast-paced position, and the pace of what they're doing each day, having an area that maybe is very peaceful, very calm, it could be indoors or outdoors, maybe with soothing lights, aromatherapy, you know, plants, all the tranquility. So having that Zen break area that they can, you know, they're not finished with their shift, but they have an area to go to just take a little me time. That's shown to be very valuable to staff because they feel that, you know, it's recognized how demanding the job can be and how there is a need to just reset, recalibrate, have a moment. And even just the basics of having a simple thank you, which can come in a lot of forms. Recognition from administration, from having actual tangible thank yous, having group parties or things like that, things that are rewarding so that you are showing the people who work in your facilities that they matter, you're grateful for the job they do a good job, and that you want them to understand that you recognize what they bring to your organization. Next slide, please. So what does that mean, though, for our residents, right? Wellness in the senior years. There's some components to this. It's not just one thing. I mean, what drives them into the nursing home oftentimes is their inability to do activities of daily living. But there's a comprehensive, we are whole humans. So there's the physical, there's the emotional, there's the social, there's the cognitive, which is the mental, intellectual. All these components contribute to wellness. If you are thriving in one area, ideally it helps boost you in others. If physically, your wellness, your strength, your nutrition, it helps you emotionally or cognitively. So all of these go together, and it's more than just not having disease, not having anything wrong. It's thriving in these multiple components. As we age, wellness becomes more essential to maintain our quality of life, our independence, our overall happiness. Next slide, please. So physically for our residents, you know, many of the facilities we've been to, and I know so many here are doing things physically, because what's a big issue in place here? Falls, right? Or mobility. So having just simple strength exercises. I mean, some of these patients we know can only do so much, but little things consistently make a big difference as far as getting them more confident, more able. Being able to rise up and down out of chairs, out of beds is a big marker for these patients to be capable of. So having these exercise programs in place where you have maybe outside or staff people leading them in these various domains. So you want to have them have a little more longevity, be able to do these exercises longer, have the flexibility. Balance is very large because, or a big component of this, because if they can improve even a little bit of their balance, that means you're preventing falls. And strength, having them not succumb to natural aging, sarcopenia, the loss of muscles, but doing these physical exercises will really improve just overall how they move about the facility and how they show up, day to day. Next slide, please. Some ideas, right? We have all kinds of options, just doing simple things like chair yoga or yoga, doing some light weights or resistance. Rubber bands is one thing, but just even body weight resistance if they can't do the weights. But this strengthening helps improve bone health, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, preventing falls, which is the third leading cause of chronic disability, supporting their functional independence, and that also has a benefit for their mental health. When residents can start to do things they weren't able to do, there's a lot of positivity with that, a lot of improvement in their demeanor, because now they feel that independence that maybe when they got there, they didn't. So there's a lot of benefit to just maybe encouraging them, if they're resistant, to participate in some of these. Start slow and get into these programs that are available. Start encouraging them to come regularly so that they can see these benefits transpire. Next slide, please. Emotional wellness is a big component that we can't ignore, because about 65 to 91% of residents in our facilities have some type of mental health. I mean, it's clinically diagnosed and sometimes undiagnosed, but a lot of them have the depression in their charts, but it can range all the way up to other mental health disorders, schizophrenia, dementia. So emotional wellness is something that really will overall help them feel better by doing just little things, taking a few minutes, managing stress, deep breathing exercises. If they are, just able to sit quietly, do some meditation. Guided meditation apps are really easy now to just put that on play and have them sit in a circle. But having that sort of option on board for them really can help decrease anxiety, really put them in a better mental framework, which overall helps both ways for their care and the caregiver to give them care. Because if they're a little more calm, they may not be resistant to some of the things that are happening to them or with them in the home. But emotional wellness is a big, big way to really address overall the physical appearance of your patients. Next slide, please. Social. This is a big one, because we all know, I mean, there's some great programs that bring in children to come interact with some of the seniors, but social's really important, especially talking about earlier that loneliness component. When you can improve their mental and emotional health, physically they present better, but overall just does a lot for their just demeanor in general. They have a sense of belonging. And if they, get too isolated, there's a downward spiral of all aspects of their life. So if you establish regular meetings, regular activities, planned activities that are geared towards their interests, special interests, maybe if someone has a creative outlet that they could foster and lead others, that kind of, those options for them are really key, because you're going to find that it brings out the best in a lot of your members, your patients, because they are able to recall, what brought them joy, and doing it in a community setting is just a wonderful way for them to really, have a positive experience. Next slide, please. Again, having that community, having that involvement, varying the classes, even involving the family members. So when you have an activity that maybe some family members could participate in, having some fresh faces, right? So if you once in a while get some of the family members to participate, or even come in and lead certain sessions, just make it a part of the culture, because that energy is contagious. When people understand and start hearing about some of the cool things happening, it creates a culture that makes not only your residents happier, but you find that more people who, when they select even a facility to go to, they want to be a part of one that has so many options for their family, you know, that they trust they're going to have good care. Next slide, please. So wellness is something, you know, that we're only going to be more and more entrenched in hearing about, but also incorporating, because our seniors, they're living longer than ever, and wellness routines are evolving. You know, it's not just physical health or not having disease, but they want to feel happier. They want to have purpose. So many of our facilities now, we're taking a multifaceted approach in looking at all these things, not just keeping them in a bed or, you know, alive. You want to keep them thriving as best they can. If they're having to be somewhere getting help taking care of them, then let's make that the best experience and have a real investment in taking care of the people who are caring for them, so that overall this community, you know, we're getting away from that care first mindset towards a wellness lifestyle mindset where care is available. So I'm sure there's going to be more and more of these programs becoming mainstream, but be sure to be open and available to incorporate new things, try new things that even maybe you've seen had success in other facilities. Try them out in your facility to find how can we improve the experience and keep our staff happy and keep them showing up so our residents are happy. So with that concludes my wellness. I hope you enjoyed your wellness month of August, and maybe next year you'll remember that this is a new month that we have, and you can do some celebrations in your facilities with it.
Thank you, Aolani. That was really great. Had a lot of great ideas in there. Do we have any questions from the audience today or participants that would like to ask anything or share anything? Feel free to come off mute or put it in chat.
Miranda, this is Jolene. I have a question for the group.
Yeah.
What are I'd like to hear from the audience, like what are some of the things that you have done to help encourage happy, healthy employees or happy, healthy, engaging residents? You can put your answers in the chat or come off mute to share.
Hi, I would like to share. This is Denise from Halimekua Wailuku.
Denise?
Yes, hi.
Go ahead, Denise.
So in our skills fairs, I do include a stress management component. And sometimes I like show mindfulness videos or something like that. But lately we've been doing like these exercises, and it gets the staff laughing, and you know, they get to stretch their bodies before or after their shift. But it's such a powerful tool because everybody seems to enjoy it, and they leave feeling so much better than when they came. So we just do, you know, exercises and you know, wiggle things out or shake things out, shake our booty, you know, maybe we'll like go in a circle and say, what are you grateful for today? It doesn't have to be work related, but it can be, you know, anything that you want. But just think of the things that you already have and, you know, what you're grateful for. So that's been really helpful for us. We've been doing it for about, I want to say like 9 months now.
That's great. Anybody else have anything they want to share? I do have a kind of funny aside that I am a stand-in caretaker for a 97-year-old gentleman who is actually independent. Well, he lives with his daughter and his son-in-law, but he has a physical therapist that comes in and does exercises and works with them about 3 times a week. And, you know, sometimes she can't make it, and they try to keep his mobility up. So it means he has to do some walking, but I'm in Alaska. So in the winter, it's not really that easily. And talking about meeting a patient, you know, where they're at, he immigrated from Germany when he was really young. So he still knows about, you know, Germany and Bavaria and all that different stuff like that. And he's really into beers. And so they used to get me to try and walk him up and down the driveway, but he doesn't like doing that. So what I found is that I get him in the car and then we go to alcohol stores, which, you know, not so great, but also that we walk around them, and he's a lot more spry when he can look at the bottles and reminisce about different things or whatever. And the funny part is that when I'm there, he's really excited to go out on trips and do stuff, but then he'll hide from his physical therapist. If I don't leave the door unlocked, he won't answer it for her. So it's just entertaining where if you can meet them on their level or something that's interest, where they're so much more willing to do exercise and whatnot than, you know, just kind of the norm. So just thought I'd kind of add that. It's super fun. But also it's hilarious when people see us walking around an alcohol store. I'm like 5'11", he's like 5'0", and we're just slowly sauntering through looking at all the different bottles, and he's telling stories. So it's a pretty fun time. All right, so we'll go to the next slide. And we want to thank you everybody for joining us and want to wish you a happy and safe Labor Day weekend. We do hope you meet us back here next Wednesday, which will have part 1 of a fall and unintentional injury. Let me see, what's the exact title? Unintentional injury fall prevention, part 1, brought to us by Jeff Grant from Wyoming. So if you can join us, we'd really appreciate that. Again, that will be a 2-part series. So the first part will be on September 4th. The second part will be on September 11th. So again, you guys have a great weekend and enjoy yourself, be safe and relax. And we hope to see you here next week. Thank you.
Thank you.